On August 31st, 2018, a young New Yorker named Erika received an Instagram DM from Charlie Kirk. The two had met a few days earlier at the inauguration of Turning Point USA's new office. At that time, no one could have predicted that the organization would grow to be as influential as it is today. Erika attended the event hoping she might secure a job. A few days later, when she got that Instagram message from Charlie, she hoped he wanted to interview her, and so they met at a restaurant.
It was about 15 minutes in, I quickly pivoted away from wanting to hire her to wanting to date her.
I'm not going to hire you. He goes, I'm going to date you.
So Erika and Charlie started dating and eventually married in February 2021. As both Charlie and Erika explained, their work and advocacy were deeply embedded in their relationship and marriage. They described it as a biblical marriage, though neither truly embodied traditional biblical roles. On September 22nd, 2025, Erika stepped on stage to deliver a speech that has since been viewed by millions following her husband's death. She spoke for nearly 30 minutes, articulate, composed, and thoughtful, perfectly ticking the boxes of Aristotle's rhetorical principles. And in that moment, I thought, this isn't coming out of nowhere. So I searched online, who was this woman, really? What was her background, her achievements? How can she talk like this so efficiently? And then it clicked. She was meant to stand there, galvanizing huge crowds of religious fanatics. From the start, she was the star, but she had been kept in her husband's shadow, and now it was her time to shine. My name's Alice, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Erika Kirk. The rise of a far-right boss babe.
Who loves history? Great. Okay, good.
So this video is about people like Erika Kirk, who seem very eager to take us back a few decades, back to simpler times. Now, you know me, I'm not a conservative, but there is one thing from the past I would like to bring back. Do you remember those big yellow books where you could look up the names and addresses of people or local businesses around you? Back then it was mostly practical, even kind of charming, I would say. You would use it to find a plumber or whatnot. But today, the digital version of that has gotten a little darker. Yes, I'm talking about data brokers. These guys collect and sell people's personal information, not just in your neighborhood, but in the entire world. You and I could go on their website right now and buy people's personal information for just a few dollars. And you know what? It's completely legal. In fact, big companies with poor security get hacked all the time, and your personal data get released on the internet so that scammers, spammers, and identity thieves can use them however they want. So I know, unfortunately, that I won't be able to bring back the yellow pages, but instead I use Aura, today's sponsor. Aura takes care of the hard work for you. They track down data brokers, selling your information, and automatically send opt-out requests. Within just a few weeks, you'll notice fewer spam calls and shady emails. They also alert you immediately if someone tries to get access to your credit or bank account. And if the worst happens, Aura includes up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. Plus, the Aura app comes with a VPN that contains 100 plus locations. Everything is all in one place, so if you want to try it out, you can go on the link in the description box. It's aura.com/AliceCapelle. By clicking on the link, you get access to a free 14-day trial. That's enough time to see if any of your data has been exposed. The link is aura.com/AliceCapelle. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring the video. And now let's go back to it.
Who loves history? Great.
The now widow of Charlie Kirk was raised in Scottsdale, Arizona by her single mother according to Christian Catholic values. Erika's early public exposure came with her victory as Miss Arizona USA in 2012 when she represented the state in the Miss USA pageant. This platform served as a springboard for her entry into the world of media and religious activism. In 2019, she launched the Midweek Rise Up podcast, a devotional series blending Christian teachings with conservative political rhetoric, therefore reflecting her alignment with the far-right's emphasis on traditional Christian values. In fact, when asked by audience members who's more conservative between Charlie and Erika and why, here's what the couple had to say.
Who is more conservative and why?
Erika.
Yes.
I am a moderate compared to Erika. Erika is very conservative.
Great mom.
Great parents.
My grandparents were amazing.
Fiercely right-wing.
Yes. My grandfather was an immigrant from Sweden, fought in World War II and the Korean War. And he got the Silver Star, the Bronze Star, and knighted by the King of Sweden, and he was always super far-right.
Erika's pride in being influenced by a super far-right grandfather is Interesting, to say the least. It confirms that Erika is very comfortable with far-right ideology, known for its advocacy of misogyny, racism, xenophobia, anti-Semitism, criminalization of unionism, political dissent, imperialism, repression of free speech. The list goes on.
Do you think having kids made you more conservative?
100%, which I didn't think was possible. But 100%. Absolutely.
But Erika isn't just another far-right advocate. She's a far-right boss babe. In 2018, she founded Proclaim Streetwear, a faith-based clothing line marketing apparel with overtly Christian and nationalist messages. Kirk also established Bible in 365, a ministry initiative encouraging daily Bible reading. Following the assassination of her husband, Charlie Kirk, in September 2025, Erika Kirk was appointed CEO of Turning Point USA. Her appointment was seen as a continuation of her husband's legacy, with an emphasis on mobilizing young Americans for conservative causes. Erika Kirk is obviously very aligned with Turning Point USA's ideology, which is focused on issues such as gun rights, opposition to LGBTQ+ rights, and anti-immigration policies. However, Erika Kirk tries to avoid speaking on those issues, particularly the cultural war type of issues, and we'll talk about why in a little bit. Instead, she emphasizes the importance of family values and Christian ideology against what she calls the enemy: feminists and progressives at large. Now be careful with the language. We're not talking about opponents, political opponents. We're talking about enemies. And there's a clear difference between the two. A political opponent is someone we fight against, we organize against. An enemy is someone you just wipe out, you destroy. Now, the reason why I'm fascinated by conservative women like Erika Kirk is because the gap between their beliefs and their lifestyles is absolutely wild. Erika is an accomplished woman who holds a fair degree of agency over her life. And I assume that's part of the reason Charlie Kirk finds her so attractive and perhaps a little bit intimidating. He chose to date her instead of hiring her. So instead of entering a traditional work contract, Erika was offered what some call the heterosexual contract, one that often implies free labor on the woman's end, whether domestic work, emotional support, sexual services, or professional advice. The quote behind every great man, there's a great woman. Well, there is a very long history of creative men relying on their wives and girlfriends as more than just muses. F. Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald, T.S. and Vivian Height Wood Elliott, Leo and Sophia Tolstoy, Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir, Gustave and Alma Mahler, Picasso, and frankly, almost every woman he was with. The list goes on, and don't think this is a thing of the past. In fact, I have no doubt that Erika was deeply instrumental in how Turning Point USA operated and grew before she became CEO. The fact that she was named CEO so quickly says it all. She knew the job before taking over. Yet from the data I found on Turning Point USA, it doesn't seem she received any money before being promoted to the position with its nearly $300,000 salary. So what happened to her?
This is going to sound incredibly sexist. I don't care. If it is a woman that you want to get married to and she says that she wants to be a traditional wife, say, okay, cook me a meal.
And make it fun. Be like, what do you want to eat? And then have them make a menu, and then it's a good challenge for you. Don't look at it as I have to. I get to serve my husband.
The blatant misogyny of conservative men is not surprising. Even opportunistic conservative women like Marjorie Taylor Greene have called it out, saying that many Republican women are sick and tired of it. Conservative women have been able to gain political power in the Republican Party under a set of conditions. In her video, Why Republican Women All Look the Same, Amanda Mariana analyzed the specific aesthetic of Republican women, attributing it to pressure to be desirable enough to attract the attention of Republican men, especially someone like Donald Trump, who clearly has a type. That explains transformation like Kristi Noem's, from an average American woman to a replica of the kind of women Trump surrounds himself with. In other words, these women's choices to take on political roles, perceived as masculine roles, have to be compensated with a more feminine aesthetic, as well as acceptance of Republican men's misogyny. That's no longer the case for someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, let's be honest, didn't conform to traditional femininity in the first place. And that's fine.
Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body.
A what now?
Erika Kirk, on the other hand, perfectly aligns with the expectations of the old ideal of Republican womanhood. On the outside, she presents as traditionally feminine, cute, and reserved. She doesn't particularly engage with political debates, as we mentioned earlier, but she still has what we can call a civic role. That means that instead of engaging in political measures, in political debates, she promotes a set of principles she believes society should follow. Belief in God, self-reliance, traditional roles, patriotism. She makes the distinction between the political role and civic role very clear by systematically introducing herself as a mother and a wife.
First, I have to do a shout out to my daughter because she's watching. Baby Buff Buff is here. He's safe.
By doing so, she subtly reminds her female audience that they do have a public role, but that role cannot be detached from their supposed essence as mothers and wives. That's why she never budges when her husband tells her to her face that as a woman, she's only good for cooking and making babies.
Hard to put into words how much men want just like a return to normal things, like cooking a meal, like serving in like those fundamental ways. Like that stuff as a husband or even a boyfriend goes beyond measure than I can put into words.
I've watched a lot of Erika Kirk content, and it's striking to me how her tone changed when Charlie was in the same room. When Charlie was absent, she encouraged women to be confident fighters and praised their achievements, like going to college, for example. When Charlie enters the room, though, she drops the big sister tone, lets Charlie monopolize the conversation, and reasserts his point with a more authoritative voice.
And make it fun. Be like, what do you want to eat? And then like have them make a menu, and then it's a good challenge for you.
Now, it's true that at times, like in this other extract for Charlie's show, Erika challenges her husband's points.
We provided for all of this. Mm-hmm. And
Hold on. I do not want to knock the stay-at-home dads.
men have a much longer horizon of waiting than women. Women can make very good mothers with almost no like training. It's just at 23, 24, women can make good mothers.
I don't know about that.
But as the conversation progresses, it's clear that Charlie does not seem to enjoy it. She eventually abandons the argument with a
I love you.
I love you too. But it's true.
or by circling back to something Charlie would agree with, realizing her pushbacks might not be welcome.
Next question.
I wish I could go into more details in like analyzing the tensions that we see here, but I want to keep this straight to the point. I did, however, film a full reaction to this video for Patreon, so you can go check that over there. The link is in the description box. Now, many men, especially those raised in traditional households, are not used to see women taking up space or expressing their opinions. A woman voicing her opinion, or worse, disagreeing with a man, is often expected to be put back in her place. Erika, despite being deeply conservative, was raised by a single mother and mentioned that her dad was a stay-at-home dad for a bit. She did not grow up in a traditional nuclear family, and I think we can see how that shaped her. She doesn't have the reflexes of women who were trained from a young age to be unopinionated, smiley, or quiet. You can see on stage how her true personality comes out. She can occupy as much space as she wants and take responsibility. Take a look at this clip taken from a video that was shot before Charlie's death. You can see Erika is labeled as Charlie's wife instead of the CEO of multiple companies, including Turning Point USA, and this is what one of her now new employees has to say about her.
And the show will continue.
I mean, a little behind the scenes here. Erika did that speech where I'm standing right now on the podium. Somehow got through that, her national address. Then she walks out there to where all of our staff are, and she then goes on to do another speech to all the staff, telling them, you're not going anywhere. We're keeping the lights on. We're doing everything. Yeah. I mean, watching that, I was blown away.
I think we were all inspired. We knew that.
I mean, yeah, and she also delivered the 30-minute memorial speech and the Medal of Freedom speech. Preparing these speeches takes enormous effort, writing, structuring, and practicing. In the video I just showed you, she explains to senior staff that things will continue as normal. She tells the audience that they have unreleased content, unlisted videos of Charlie, and that they will keep reading fan emails. She's the CEO, she's a boss babe. She enjoys taking responsibility, something that's now evident since Charlie is no longer casting a shadow over her, treating her as just the wife. In this first section, we saw how Charlie Kirk, in a typically patriarchal manner, cast a shadow over his achievement-driven wife. In this second section, we'll see how Erika did similar in return, in order to shape expectations and behaviors for an entire generation of women. In the groundbreaking book Backlash, journalist Suzanne Faludi drew on a series of interviews she concluded with leading anti-feminists of the 1980s. Among them was Beverly LaHaye, an American Christian conservative activist who founded Concerned Women for America in California in 1979. LaHaye claimed that a woman belongs to the domestic sphere and that it is not in her nature to be ambitious. You see where I'm going here? However, Faludi observed that LaHaye did not fit that definition herself. Upon entering LaHaye's Oval Office, she saw a big flag planted next to the desk, pink curtains, business cards, and a photo of LaHaye shaking hands with Ronald Reagan. She was also told that no one in the organization was allowed to speak to LaHaye without her permission, and she had effectively appointed herself president for life. Typical biblical woman behavior, isn't it? When asked by a journalist what motivates her and what her philosophy is, Faludi noted, quote, "What drives LaHaye is this human need to be engaged in the public world, to experience public life, and to feel as if you are part of it, and as if you're making some change." End of the quote. Basically, LaHaye found a way to have her cake and eat it, to remain part of her conservative Christian community while gaining influence as an individual. At the same time, she worked to make it increasingly difficult for women to achieve fulfillment in their lives and careers. Erika Kirk is in many ways a millennial Beverly LaHaye. She has become the female voice of Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirk entrusted her with the mission of rallying young women around Christian nationalist principles, a difficult task as the right struggles to attract young women. According to Pew Research Center, 61% of US women say the term feminist describes them very or somewhat well. In the UK, around 67% of women aged 18 to 24 identify as feminists, according to the Young Women's Trust. Charlie Kirk has even admitted it.
I have a lot of thoughts on this. How does the church, how does the conservative movement win back young women?
To address the challenge, some have promoted the tradwife ideal, an escapist vision of 1950s womanhood, but it largely remained what it started as, a fantasy. In today's economy, living on one income is unrealistic, and most women value independence too much for the concept to stick. Now, another approach has been to recruit younger right-wing female commentators. Platforms like PragerU and The Daily Wire have promoted figures such as Amala Okpunobi and Brett Cooper to reconnect with Gen Z and millennial women. While these commentators have built sizable followings, it isn't clear how many women actually engage with their content, so yeah, the results are a bit mixed. And now enters Erika Kirk and her yearly event, the Young Women's Leadership Summit. The Young Women's Leadership Summit is the big female event of Turning Point USA. It gathers thousands of teenagers and young adult women from across the US. Its messaging is, like most of the MAGA movement, weird. Quote, more babies and beef tallow, less blue hair and birth control. That's the sort of thing you would hear there. Generally speaking, the event emphasizes early marriage, motherhood, and a return to traditional femininity. Speakers encourage attendees to embrace family and faith as central to a fulfilling life, claiming it has never been cooler to be conservative, and that liberal women are actually obsessed with conservative men. Personally, I'm fine, thank you. In videos and talks like Can Women Have a Family and a Successful Career, or Combating Comparison in a Toxic Boss Babe Culture, Erika outlines what it means to be a biblical woman and the sacrifices this entails. She speaks to a generation of women who, unlike their mothers and grandmothers, have experienced a degree of freedom over their bodies and lives, and she aims to convince them that returning to pre-freedom norms is actually good for them, while acknowledging that attending college and having a career are positive.
Raise your hand if you're a student in college or in high school. Okay, good. Great. It's important.
She encourages women not to delay marriage.
You can't be what God has called you to be. It's the exact opposite. When you become a mother, that is what God has called you to be. I know a lot of you do want a career, and I respect that because I do still have my own. I don't want you to be chasing a paycheck and a title.
She also explains that it is acceptable to put a career on pause for many years, returning to it after having and raising kids.
Women have it so mixed up. You can have a career after children, but if you try to have a career while you have your kids, there is no such thing as balance. That is such a myth.
Now let's be realistic here for a second. It is extremely difficult to go back to a career after years away from the workforce. Women who have to return to work after divorce often face precarious jobs. They start over from zero. It's a scenario that is far from desirable. So the answer to the question Erika asks in her video titles is clear. No. You can't have both a family and a successful career. Erika asserts there is no such thing as balance. Another advice Erika gives to women, which I find deeply scary, is that if the marriage is quite bad or even worse than that, abusive, women have to endure.
I am the wife. I am in charge of certain things, guardian of the home, helping with the children, so I can make it easy for my husband to do what he needs to do. There's a balance there. And then you get into the people who are saying, well, my husband's abusive. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the beautiful, sacred marriage.
She never revisits the topic of abusive relationships after this little clip. Instead, she tells women that they should not compare their marriages to each other. You see, she and Charlie present themselves as the perfect romantic love story, reinforcing this with her charismatic public persona. And then they say this.
How romanticized they made finding your future spouse. Like, you're going to be so in love. You're going to be swept up in these butterflies in your stomach.
This is what I call gaslighting. It is there. It is striking. You know, people attend Erika's speeches and follow her on Instagram, not only for her ideas, but also for what she embodies, an accomplished woman with a Disney-like love story. This is what the average woman in a patriarchal capitalist society wants. She represents the ideal 21st century woman in so many ways, and she uses that aura to instruct young women to curb their aspirations, accept a diminished version of themselves, and most importantly, not complain about it.
I think it's really important that women do not gossip to their friends about their husband. Mm-hmm. First of all, friends can be very unforgiving when it comes to certain things with husband, but what you talk about with your spouse behind closed doors needs to stay there.
This is deeply harmful. Friends often serve as primary support systems outside relationships and family. Being able to share fears and frustrations about a relationship with a friend is essential for mental health. It can improve the relationship in some ways or signal an exit if necessary. Erika, however, instructs women to shut out external advice. The only person they are encouraged to consult is the pastor or priest, whose primary goal is to preserve the religious community and who is typically untrained in addressing relationship issues or psychological challenges. I'm sorry, but your local pastor doesn't have that WhatsApp girls group chat energy, see what I mean? So yeah, these are the kinds of lessons you learn at the Young Women's Leadership Summit. What a joke. This is what I call gaslighting. But this is Erika Kirk, everyone, an accomplished woman, a leader, a CEO, telling other women they can only be truly fulfilled in one way, as biblical women, as Republican women. And you know what? It doesn't work. You see, this was the 9th edition of the summit, and the turnout isn't that great in comparison to the massive crowds Charlie Kirk mobilized. They might have polished sets that kinda look like mine, but better, slick edits and outfits funded by millions in dark money, but the message struggles to land. I'm not saying they have no influence on young women. What I'm saying is that given the enormous amount of money that are poured into this, the results are underwhelming. You see, women are smart. We don't let ourselves be gaslit so easily. We value agency, we value feeling like subjects, not objects. It's a feeling no one can take from us. And it's a feeling someone like Erika struggles to conceal. That's it for me, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, the conversation continues in the comment section. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, to support me and my team on Patreon. I'd put a link in the description box. Big thank you to Aura for sponsoring the video. Big thank you to my patrons as well, and a special shout out to top tier patrons Nofol Shamari, Fred, Hongxing Wong, Paul-Louis Ajno, Patrick Button, Jeff Lee, Yilan, Taya Matin, Nick, Brandon, Jem Siddle, Ojual, Patrick, Pablo, Boris, Ria, Ion, Donage, Koriji, Christopher, Tristan, Alex, Manuel, Christopher France, and Perry, and thank you to the other ones who prefer to stay anonymous. That's it for me. I'll see you very soon. Salut!